Hi, I'm Kimmy with On William Street, and we are here to help you become a more confident quilter from the piecing to the quilting and everything in between. This week, we're going to share a really fun free motion quilting motif with you. So this week, I'm going to show you a really fun all-over snowflake quilting motif that you can use on the entire quilt, or you could use it in background areas, or I'm going to show you how you can also adapt it to fit into a border really nicely. So for this motif, it's going to be a variation on the loop. So if you've ever done a loop around a quilt, we're going to use that same concept as we do our snowflakes. We're just going to mix it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, and I'm going to go ahead and do a loop. Then I'm going to come in, and I'm going to stop and make a couple circles. And the reason I like to make a couple circles is because it's going to hide mistakes. It's going to help you even out. If your first circle isn't very big, you can make a couple more and just keep going until it is. Then you're going to stop anywhere you want, it doesn't matter, and go one line straight out, and again, make a couple circles. Then I'm going to follow it back in on that same line and just go straight across your circle to the other side. Then we're going to come back in. Now, to get the other points of our snowflake, we're going to come up about a third of the way in between these two. Straight out, make a couple circles, back in, straight across, a couple circles, back in, and now we just have to go out halfway between those two. Out a couple circles, out a couple circles, back in. Now from here, you can exit the snowflake anywhere you want. So I'm just going to come out this side, do a couple more loops, come down here, make my center circles, and then 1 point, come back in, again, about a third of the way between these two, and then halfway between them, and back in, and then just keep on going. So this one will go off, come back in over here, put a snowflake down here. So this is a really fun motif. You're going to probably want to kind of just doodle it out a little bit, just to make sure that you kind of get the spacing. And doodling will help your body figure out where it's going to go on the path, the quilting path. So as you're quilting it, you won't have to stop and figure out, okay, where do I go next, where do I go next? The doodling is going to help you already kind of have that practiced and in your mind. Do one more down here, and then just work your way off. So you can just want to go ahead and kind of evenly space. I probably would have done one more here on the quilting piece, but you can kind of see how we're just going to space those out all over. Now, if you want to do this in a border, so we can definitely do that as well. Let me fold my paper up and show you a little bit of a skinnier border. And so instead of going around, we're just going to start at one end, make a loop, come in, make your circle for your snowflake, and it's basically just going to fill your border is what you kind of want to look at doing here. Back in, and then just come down, do a loop, back over, put another circle, and again, fill in the full length of the border. Back in, and then carry on with more loops. And off. So you can definitely go ahead and quilt the same motif in a row as well. So now let's go ahead and we're going to move over to the sewing machine and we will quilt it out. Okay, so now that I'm ready to quilt, first thing I'm going to do is I do have my sandwich all made and ready to go, and I'm just going to pull up my bottom thread. I always like to start with my bottom thread on top so that you can hang on to those when you get started. And then at the beginning, I'm just going to take a few little stitches. And then what that's going to allow me to do is everything's held in place, and I have a little screwdriver, but you can take scissors or a pin or something and pull those out underneath. Depending on your foot, you might need to pull those out or not. And then we're going to go ahead and quilt out our motif. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do that first loop. And I'm going to stop there and I'm going to think, okay, where am I going to put this first snowflake? And this is where that doodling on the paper ahead of time is going to come in handy. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to go ahead and put my first snowflake right here. Now I'm going to do my circles, and you don't necessarily need to stop between each step. I'm just going to stop to kind of walk you through what we're doing. So I'm going to make 2 or 3 little circles here. And I want this to kind of fill in because I'm going to be going through it with my straight line. So I don't necessarily want it to have a hole in the middle. I want it to be a fairly filled in circle. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come out right here with my first point on my snowflake. And then again, just make my circles. These ones don't have to be filled in because I won't be going through them again. And then just trace back down your line. And then from here, like I said, we're just going to split this into thirds so that we can get our two evenly spaced lines off the side. And then from here, split those in half. And we're back to the inside. I'm just going to go ahead and loop around here and put another snowflake over here. Now, whenever I am doing an all over design, I like to work my way completely off the fabric and come back on in different sections, and that's going to really eliminate any dead spots. Sometimes I found that if I'm trying to avoid going off an edge, I'll end up with big kind of empty areas that look unfinished later on. So I like to go ahead and just work my way off. And then we're just going to come up and around. And I'll just loop back on over here to put my other snowflake. All right, so now I am ready to go ahead and do my next one. So I'll make my circle in the middle and then do my 6 points around and around. And then from there, we're just going to go ahead and just continue to work around and fill in the whole space. Okay, so now I've got my little bit of a border marked out here, you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we would fill that in to a border as well. So first I'm going to do my little loop. I'm going to do a second loop here. And then come back to kind of the middle. And most of these, I'm going to start roughly in this center section so that I have room to fill in the snowflake. And do my circle. Then go ahead and split it in thirds. And then split it in half. Then we're just going to come off and do a couple more loops on this side. And then we would just finish off and fill in the whole border all the way down. So with a minor variation on our all over loop design, you can have a really fun snowflake free motion quilting design that can be perfect for all of these fun Christmas projects or winter projects coming up as we move into the little bit colder months. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. You can comment on the video, send us an email. We would definitely love to help you if you have any problems or questions with this motif. And as always, if you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified when we put out new videos. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram to see all sorts of fun projects and photos of all the things we're working on. And we will see you next week.